We're going to be talking about the movie Hidden Figures as well as breaking barriers within NASA. And we have Taylor, Nathan, Kate, and me, Kyen. Um, and so right here we have the movie Hidden Figures. And it shows these three women, which is Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, I think I pronounced that right, and Mary Jackson. And they were known to be human computers, which is basically saying they were wicked smart and they didn't need a calculator. I don't know if it was made during the time, but they were really good at doing math. And what's crazy is if you make one mistake within math within NASA, you can cause like catastrophic damage. So they did play a big role. Um, and so that's these three women here, as shown. Uh, and also here we have the Sally Ride, obviously. And NASA was created in 1958, and then the first big woman name was her 30 years later, being Sally Ride, and she played a big role within NASA. And one of my group mates will be talking about it later. So, how does conflict lead to change? Obviously, there's been segregation over the years within women and within the movie Hidden Figures, Black women. Um, but like the they've pushed forward throughout this change and they've showed people around them that they can do just as good as everybody else, um, which is very impressive to step up to the boundary and go against what is normal. So props to these women. Yeah.
As you could see based on the chart, until 1978, there were only male graduates from the NASA astronaut class. It wasn't until 2013 where the male and female graduate rate evened out, and that was 50-50. Even outside of NASA, STEM college degrees are still male dominated as they have always been, which you can see by the graph. This is Katherine Johnson. She was an African American woman who worked at NASA as a mathematician, and she broke gender and racial barriers for her time. NASA's internal policies include the Artemis program, which commits to sending the first woman and first person of color to the moon. They implemented this in 2021. And there is still a funding bias in NASA. However, women receive less funding than men. These issues can cause women to be excluded from contributing to major space missions and discoveries. So that is an ongoing issue.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about Mary Jackson and her involvements at NASA. So she began at NASA as a mathematician in the segregated West Area Computing Division, but she quickly pushed beyond the limits society set for her as a black woman. Okay, Jackson became NASA's first black female engineer in 1958, and her research on aerodynamics advanced spacecraft design and proved her talent. Not only race and gender drive innovation. She also faced a lot of segregation, as you might imagine. So to actually qualify as an engineer, she had a petition for permission to attend an all-white graduate class in Virginia. But showed courage by demanding access to education others, normally tried to deny her. She also pushed for advocacy for other women in fields like STEM. So later in her career, she moved into management to help women and minorities break into different like STEM fields. And she used her position to open up doors for the next generation of women. Um, Mary Jackson reminds us that equality means fighting both for yourself and for others. She forces us to ask questions like, what influences gender roles and how can we achieve true quality in STEM today, learning from her example.
Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan were the women that Hidden Figures was based off of. These women were three black women who made significant impacts within NASA. Katherine used her orbital mechanic calculations, and they were very vital to the success of early U.S. flights. Mary was NASA's first black female engineer, and Dorothy was NASA's first black manager. Sally Ride, she was the first American woman in space, the third woman in space overall, and she was a national hero and role model for girls pursuing STEM. Margaret Hamilton, she was the lead software engineer for the Apollo missions. Her team was responsible for the onboard flight software, and when a computer error threatened their mission, she successfully solved it in order for the flight to proceed safely. And then Annie Easley. She was a computer scientist and mathematician who worked on NASA's Plum Brook reactor facility, and she studied the effects of rocket launches on the ozone layer. Thank you for watching.